right in here. Now, this car has been kind of in storage since the race. It's kind of back here in the corner. God, how do you zoom out on this? Oh. Okay, I just figured out how to zoom out because I'm using a camera for the first time to film instead of my phone because I broke my phone. So that's out for a while. So if this video sucks, that's why. I have no idea what I'm doing. But anyways, this car has been kind of sitting back here in storage, you know, just kind of out of the way. Primary focus this summer was on this car. We did race this car. It was super fun. Go watch that video if you haven't yet. And that's where we blew this motor up. If you look under the intake manifold, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's a hole in the engine case. So this video is going to be on tearing the engine apart, figuring out what went wrong, and just kind of trying to start rebuilding. I do have another engine to start building right here. So it's almost a long block. Obviously one side of the engine is not there. Not really sure why. But it has no end play, and I'm going to just go ahead and do new cylinders and new pistons because might as well. And then we'll see if we can get this running. So now I'm going to start tearing the old engine out. So the first step is obviously going to be to get this engine cage off and actually get the engine out. So I'll be working on that for a little bit. We'll see, I need to take the skid plate off probably first. So I'll do that first. This engine cage can come off. Carb's going to get disconnected so I can disconnect the throttle cable. And then wires and everything will get disconnected. So I'm going to do that first. Try to make this as entertaining as I can without the ability to do a time lapse. Oops. So my hands are already just oily and nasty, and that's because when the engine blew the hole, obviously all the oil escaped out of that hole. A good amount of it, I mean not all of it. The entire front of the engine is just absolutely coated in oil. The skid plate was covered in oil. The shop floor is also now covered in oil that I'm going to have to clean up. If it's sitting this long, all the oil is just kind of seeped out of the skid plate that way. I got a ratcheting wrench. Best thing ever. Like, works like a socket, but it doesn't like take up the space. So if you need to like get in somewhere, but you don't want to just sit there with a wrench just like for 15 minutes, you know, just get these things. This is Jagger brand. I don't know. They work great. When I built the skid plate and the engine cage, I wanted them to fit together really nicely, so I didn't have to worry about the skid plate kind of moving like this. And as a result, the holes are drilled to the perfect size for the bolts. And now they won't come out. So now I have to count them. I don't know, maybe some people will enjoy this more, just kind of watching me work a little bit. my thumb. They like twisted my thumb backwards, and I pulled my hand out, and it hurt a lot. That could have been a lot worse. Oh God, there's our skid plate. So this is, you can see this is how much oil just got dumped by the engine. And then there's just, all this is just old sand. Ooh, no. That's not sand. That's metal. That's metal shards from somewhere. Wow. Smells like oil. Okay, well. Jesus. You get that looks like sand, but it's metal shards. They're shiny. That ain't no good at all. If you guys want an engine cage that is just like this, just comment down below, and I can get you the CAD files for this engine cage. I also have 2 more engine cages that I built. It was for a school project, so I needed to build 3 to qualify for the project, because it was a manufacturing and design thing for my manufacturing design class. And the rules were, you got to build 3 of something, and they have to be they have to match really well, as in they have to be identical, because that proves your capability in whatever manufacturing, assembly line, kind of whatever. So I built 3 of them, and they're pretty sturdy, pretty happy with them. And the other ones I built aren't trimmed as far as this one is, so they can stick way out the back if you're running a Stinger exhaust. For me, with these dual Baja exhausts, I didn't need my engine cage to stick off the back very much, because I wanted to conserve that good departure angle. So I trimmed it short to hug the engine really tight. But if you want one of these, just comment down below and we'll get in touch. Yeah. Right now I'm removing these lower transmission mount bolts, because that's what the engine cage mounts to. So I think I'm going to need to use a breaker bar, which unfortunately means I need to remove a wheel, so that's annoying. We did a bolt check before the beginning of the race, which to us basically means you go around and you crank down all the bolts on the whole car, and so now all of them are tight, which is really annoying. I like this one. There we go. Guys, I gotta say, these tires, they're Goodyear Wranglers, so good, so good. This car has never struggled with traction, especially the last race where it was all sand. It was all sand, and we didn't struggle at all with traction, and never got a flat. Never had to pull out our spare, never even got a slow leak, especially like even on these old, these are rims from almost 60 years ago. No problem. This thing is, these tires are just so good. Can't recommend them enough. especially if you're like us and you're on a shoestring budget. With our team, you know, there's no secrets. If you ask me a question, I'll do my best to answer it, because I am a beginner in all this, and so I can let you know what I've learned, because people have everything I've learned, I've been taught by some really nice folks that have raced with me, and so I'm going to do my best to kind of you know, pass that information on. So if you ask me a question, I'll do my best to answer it, because I don't really believe that I have the right to keep any secrets right now about any of this, because this is all stuff I learned from some really nice people. If you need a breaker bar that's not super long, use a jack handle. Alright, so my transmission mount failed completely, and this is what's left of it. You can see that the transmission kind of sits on the mounts, and the rubber just came apart. So, you know, what I'm probably going to do is just get an entire new mount, probably something a little bit more sturdy. Grass. So yeah, there's more metal sand mixed with regular sand. Lots of sand. Ooh, good. Alright. So, I don't know if you guys can see this, but somehow during the race, my carburetor came loose. And those are lock nuts too. I don't know what happened there. And then also, my whole fan strap came loose. Luckily, the belt didn't break, so we still had cooling the whole time. But that was loose. I don't know why. The car still ran great, even with the carb loose and the fan shroud loose. This screw on this side of the fan shroud, a little bolt came off, and I don't know why. And I also don't know if there's any better way to mount it, because as far as I know, there's only 2 bolts that mount it. Unless I'm missing something, but I looked everywhere for bolt holes, and I could only find these 2 on the side when I put it together. So let me know if I'm doing something wrong. There's a good chance I'm doing something wrong. So let me know. I just got lucky that the belt didn't break. So, and then also this exhaust came loose. And it was popping and banging, and it sounded hilarious. It was so loud, without any exhaust on one side. Okay, so lesson learned on this one is use Loctite on carburetor bolts, because even though these are supposed to be lock nuts, they didn't lock. So I don't know why. So use some Loctite. Funny story. So I picked this fan shroud's from just a random engine I found online that some guy was just giving away for free. So shout out to him. That was awesome. He gave me a bunch of free stuff, which is super cool. I don't know his name, but I also don't. Well, I don't want to be, just giving random people's names on YouTube. Anyways, this guy gave me this fan shroud, and it had this alternator on it, and I put this engine together and finished putting it fully together like a month before the race. Didn't have enough time to really test much. I was able to kind of break the engine in a little bit, and the battery died. And I was like, oh no, like this alternator is bad, and a day before the race I'm going to have to, or a day before loading up the trailer, I'm going to have to replace the alternator. So luckily, I don't know what happened, but it started working. So I got really lucky there. Moral of the story is, check your alternator, make sure it works before you have a race. Because I'm tightening it. I see. There we go. Okay. Engine's out almost. Oh, I forgot to pull. We have the engine out. And there's a chunk of something right there. Uh-oh. I say uh-oh as if I didn't already know that this engine is toast. But there is definitely a chunk of something right there. I'm not sure what it is yet. Okay. There we go.
Where are you even trying to put it?
Right there on that table.
Why didn't you move it closer first?
Because I want it over there. It's light engine.
Where are we lifting it from?
The exhaust.
Right here?
No. Down there.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a little slippery.
Is it slippery on that side?
I'll just the wheel screens. There we go.
Say hi to the camera.
Alright, so I think I'm going to start by, well, first I'll get rid of this distributor cap. Disconnect the wires. I do enjoy a good set of nicely colored spark plug wires. It just looks so nice, you know? if you've ever torn down or built a Volkswagen engine, you know that there are 2 bolts on each side of the intake manifold, and one of them is right underneath this bend this bend where it kind of goes up like this. And there's a bolt that's right underneath that. So annoying to try and remove because you can't fit a socket in there. You have to fit a wrench in there, and it's just super dumb and super annoying. Yeah. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. Very annoyed. Alright guys, so I've got the engine down to a long block. I took the exhaust intake, distributor, fuel pump, tins, everything. It's all off. As you can see, I didn't just pull the bolts out all in a row. I loosened them in kind of this star pattern, just so that there's no risk of warping the head or anything. I don't think anything went wrong with the valve system in this engine. All the valve springs are still fine. Valve stems are there. And the rockers were in great shape. Nothing wrong there. So, I don't think there was at any point anything that would have stopped any of the valves from opening at all. Meaning there was no crazy interference or anything. We'll just have to see. Alright. Uh-oh. A little bit of rust on the cylinder there. I guess I got some water in it. That's not too bad. Should be able to clean that off, hopefully. Oh yeah, it just comes right off. There's some water in there though, and I'm sure it's because of this hole. The car did sit outside for a while before we were able to kind of get it in here. Just for a couple days, but it did sit outside during a rainstorm, so I'm sure it got some water in it. And that's not too bad. Could be worse, could be a lot worse. Obviously I'll pull everything apart, so. Oh my gosh. I don't think we're going to be reusing this piston. Look at that. I'm trying to pull the piston up so you can see it. Yeah, we're not reusing this piston or this cylinder because, yeah, Rod broke and took it out. Holy crap, that is horrible. Look at that. Look at that. Jeez. Oh, and it's twisted too? How does that even happen? How does that even happen? And it seems like what failed is the actual, the bearing, where the bearing kind of clamps to the crankshaft. You can see those are 2 parts of it. And so it seems like that's what failed. I mean, it's hard to know really what exactly would have failed. So we'll pull that out a little farther. Oh God. That piston's destroyed too. How did that happen? Oh, there must have been chunks just like flying around in there. So frustrating. Alright guys, so I've gotten the case apart, and there's a few main failures that I want to go over. First of all is the main bearing failure. As you can see, there is no bearing. It was a new bearing that I had installed, and there are no traces of it. What I think happened is that it spun, and I think that's what caused so much end play. And then I think it just kind of, over time, just ground up into, well, this. This is the bottom of the oil strainer, and there's a nice metal paste. So I would say that's probably what's left of the main bearing, because I'm pretty sure it spun and got ground up. So there's that. And then there's the obvious this. That doesn't really require any more explanation. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Not entirely sure how this could have failed, but I mean it's just destroyed. So there's that. And so overall, I think the moral of the story and what I'll do next time is, you know, I shouldn't have used this case. It probably shouldn't have been used again. It just was old and probably should have been either remachined or whatever. But honestly, I just shouldn't have used it. The crankshaft also shouldn't have used that. I mean, it didn't really show too many signs of being unusable, but I shouldn't have used it. I mean, really, I should have just gone with a new crankshaft. The pistons and stuff, I'm disappointed about that. The pistons and the cylinders are all really just destroyed, unusable, which I'm really disappointed about, because they were brand new and they were really nice. So yeah, here is the aftermath. This is certainly a souvenir. This little this piston, I'm gonna hang that up somewhere. A little disappointing, but at the end of the day, that's racing. It kind of is what it is. And so we'll rebuild. We'll be back at it next year, hopefully. And thank you for watching, and have a great day.